Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Great to have you in our SAP Community YouTube stream. I would like to welcome you to the next episode of the Deep Dives into end-to-end processes with SAP series. With the session today, we are closing this series, and we have covered so far the following business processes: hire to retire, travel to reimburse, source to pay, lead to cash, and design to operate. Today, we will hear the second part of design to operate, end-to-end process. I will post all the links to the conducted sessions shortly in the live chat. Today, we deep dive into acquire to decommission part of design to operate business process. And with this, we can manage assets along their entire life cycle. My name is Larissa Brinkman from the SAP Global User Groups Organization, and I'm your host. We kindly ask you to post your questions via live chat, and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. The additional materials of this session, like the PDF, will be available under the same link in the description to the video of today's session shortly after the stream is finished. Now, let me introduce our experts speakers for today. We have Elmar Paul, who is Chief Process Owner of SAP Digital Supply Chain Cloud. We have Hector Narang, who is Senior Development Manager, also in the area of digital supply chain. And we have Peter Heller, who is Chief Project Expert, also digital supply chain at SAP. With this, I wish you great interaction and hand over to Hector.
Thank you, Larissa. Welcome from my side as well. I am Ekta Narang and from SAP Cloud Product Management Unit. And today with my colleagues Elmar Paul and Peter Heller, we'll take you through SAP's end-to-end scenario for supply chain designed to operate with the focus on asset management acquired to decommission. So today we'll spend time on SAP product strategy. We will spend time on the integrated supply chain end-to-end process designed to operate, but our focus today would be acquired to decommission. So we'll spend majority of our efforts and time in that. We will also do a demo and very quickly talk about some of the quite sweet qualities that we have and give you some of the useful links that you can refer to later before we jump into question answers. SAP strategy. SAP is in a unique position of having a robust business technology platform and a wide portfolio of SAP solutions, industry expertise, and an ecosystem of partners, which is needed to establish an end-to-end business process. Business technology platform provides integration capabilities to ensure the end-to-end process is connected irrespective of the departmental silos. And sweet qualities provide consistency across all the products in the business process. SAP has 4 leading end-to-end business processes based on the focus areas. Our focus today would be designed to operate with the focus of supply chain. And we will spend majority of our time in acquired to decommission, which is a sub-scenario of design to operate. As we said, design to operate spans across different business processes and multiple solutions, but we work seamlessly with the cloud ERP. The cloud qualities like consistent user experience provide consistency across different products and provide a similar experience irrespective of the solutions that you are in and you're jumping from one product to another. As mentioned, design to operate is designed to ensure the enabling risk resiliency and quick responsiveness. We have experienced in last years disruptions in supply chain because of the world situations. and which also push the need for, to enable the supply chains need to be risk resilient, and the responsive times of the supply chain need to be really quick. And that also helps us to push in when we talk about the end-to-end business processes. But how do we ensure the risk-resilient supply chain? I think it's very important that we connect every process of supply chain, contextualize the operational and the business data, which runs across the business processes, and most importantly, collaborate with the ecosystem of partners that we have. Let's spend a little more moments on what is designed to operate as an end-to-end process. The sample that you see here is a typical design to operate process for a discrete industry. This is an example of an assemble to order scenario. So the overall design to operate is split into three larger pieces. First is the design piece, which we call it idea to market, where we basically do design a new product or change an existing product, which goes up to the BOM and routing. The major processes of planning, manufacturing, and logistics, which is planning to fulfill, happens post that. And in this example, since this is make to stock scenario and sell from stock, once you have a sales order, then the finished product is produced in the manufacturing system. And then the pick and pack with EW and TM happens. And then we move on to the third phase of the design to operate process, which is acquire to decommission process. So as I said before, the process is deeply integrated with the cloud ERP process. So that's a backbone of the entire design to operate process that we show you here. How does a customer get design to operate process running in their environment? RISE with SAP for supply chain is way a customer can get the entire design to operate process, closely working with supply chain. And all the pieces that you saw in the last slide also provide all the capabilities from the business process pipeline as well. And that's an offering we have. As I mentioned about RISE basically is the digital supply chain offering with various solutions like enterprise product design, integrated business planning, digital manufacturing, asset performance management, working seamlessly with S/4HANA Cloud. And that's the story that we also kind of weave it with the different variants, with the different processes. But I think today let's spend a little more effort and time into the acquire to decommission process. So Alma, why don't you take us through the process?
Thank you, Hector, for that introduction and overview from a D2O perspective. And I'm more than happy to let's have a closer look into acquire to decommission and our solution portfolio with intelligent asset management. From our mission perspective, we want to contribute so that our customers can get most out of their physical asset. That is also the reason that we have extended our solution portfolio far beyond the pure ERP-based approach and to act with the offerings more intelligently throughout the whole life cycle of assets. And therefore, this solution offering is seen as the operate part in the end-to-end perspective of the whole design to operate process. So what is it, that offering? When you look at the middle of the page, you see the comprised solution offering. Most prominently, the S/4HANA with the core capabilities to run asset management. But there's much more around, like our asset performance management to drive really performance of the asset. But there's also the need to optimize your resources, your supply towards which technician is doing which job at the end. Therefore, we have resource scheduling in S/4HANA asset management or field service management. There is for sure in asset management the mobile game, so that the service technicians can really take all the information on the service and asset manager mobile device. There is the business network to foster collaboration. We have spatial asset management so that we really can locate where the asset in the field is at the end. And all these solutions play seamlessly together, being safeguarded by our suite qualities, like Hector mentioned, and to get the support from the business technology platform. I will talk in a minute about these qualities and will go for some selected ones a bit deeper. But most important on top of those solutions and suite qualities, it's our end-to-end business process understanding. That is where the huge value is coming out of the integrated approach that we are following. At the top of the diagram and based on the harmonized asset master data, you see that process flow from reliability engineering down to maintenance execution and also performance analysis to easily come back and evaluate whether the defined maintenance strategy needs adjustments or maybe it's already good and can sustain. Let's have a closer look towards the process and what our customers experience over the last decades. As you can say, it felt like a disconnected, a divorced game between enterprise asset management and asset performance management. Customers invested a lot into both sides with the need to build complex interfaces to get at least some integration going. SAP on the one side and often third-party solution or even homegrown solutions on the other side, but really hard to gain benefits out of it. And we from SAP, we changed that with our offering. It's integrated, it's there as a best practice, and we will see some parts of it in a demo later by Peter. It's one of our core pillars in our strategic direction to have asset performance management and enterprise asset management seamlessly integrated. You see that in the picture. In the middle, where we have the asset in the center and the most important activities going around. From number one, reliability engineering to tactical planning, asset health monitoring, incident management, resource planning to maintenance execution. And finally, and maybe most important, towards analysis, to see whether adjustments and course correction in terms of better fitting strategies are needed. All seamlessly integrated, supported by IoT, mobile, and for sure, business AI going forward. A more detailed representation of that flow, what we just saw, based on key business objects from SAP can be seen on that page. Not going into the details today, but what is most important, you see here per capability depicted as the blue boxes, the most relevant business objects embedded in the data flow and connection from the left to the right, and also back via analytics to strive for a continuous improvement cycle. Also important on that level, and as we are crossing different solutions, at the bottom, we have asset master data depicted that are used in a harmonized and aligned way by the processes and solutions on top. And it's not only solutions and business objects that we are bringing together. And even when we try to automate as much as possible from a business process perspective, at the end, this is still about the roles and responsibilities coming together to drive businesses. Here shown for the two disciplines, again, on asset management and enterprise asset management, with the most relevant roles, reliability engineers on the one side, working hand in hand with the maintenance planners, followed by the maintenance technicians. And it's so important that they speak the same language in terms of business data and really deeply aligned business processes. But let's switch now to the suite qualities that we want to talk today. Out of the 7 qualities that you see there at the bottom, I will focus a bit on number 1, aligned domain models. Second, seamless user experience. And last, the end-to-end process blueprint that we have in place to support the end-to-end processes. I shared already before about the importance of aligned domain models, and this is especially important for master data. In our case, the asset master data representing the physical assets. In asset management, we are building on the concept of the one domain model to have aligned and harmonized core master data attributes that are used by all the applications. Here in the picture, you see again S/4HANA Asset Management and Asset Performance Management. But this is also true for other solutions. Important is that common set of core data for all of the business objects that the application use in the same way. And yes, for sure, there is the need from an application perspective to go also for local extensions of that definitions. But that kind of semantic alignment gives us the opportunity for out-of-the-box integration in general, and for sure, the end-to-end process integration on top. Seamless user experience is the second sweet quality I want to talk today. We changed the paradigm completely by putting the end user into the focus when we design a solution capability. It's much more role-based and persona-centric to provide the end user along a dedicated process flow with what is needed and to help him or her to complete the job best and most efficient. It means also that we have embedded and more analytics, as you can see in the middle of the page, to focus on what is really important and revealed by the system in accordance to the process flow. And when we talk asset management, we have to talk mobile consumption, especially for the technicians in the field on the assets, to have everything up to date on their mobile device. Is it the latest work order or job to be completed? Is it the latest 3D visualization, augmented reality, or whatever makes the most rare resources effective in their daily work? My last sweet quality in more detail for today is to talk about the reference architecture content. And this is often asked for by customers in their transformation journey towards SAP S/4HANA. And the ask is about what is SAP's response towards the business needs of tomorrow and how SAP is supporting that best. And therefore, you can see the content being structured in two ways, but connected with each other for sure. On the left and in blue, it's about the business language and what is needed from a business perspective. We have done a complete remodeling of that based on industry standards to align here on a common terminology and what is used and understood across industries. We have done a complete remodeling of that based on the industry standard, but the question starts then, what is SAP's solution response towards that? And here we are moving to the orange piece of the page where we have the different content in the format of different diagrams. We have the needed solution components depicted in a solution component diagram. To understand better how they interplay and integrate, we have the implemented business activities to the solution component diagram as well modeled in a diagram. Also from here, you can go one level deeper to see solution flows on user interaction levels, step by step, if you will. And finally, the diagram for the more technical perspective on how key master data and transactional data flow between the solution components. So that is really a lot that we revealed and shared already today on PowerPoint level. And I would like to ask now Peter to give us a demo how that really looks and feels in a real setup.
Yes, thank you very much, Mark. Yes, what I wanted to do today is to show small closed loop scenario. We're going to take an asset as a basis, and we're going to look into how that has been operated under the condition maintenance scenario. So just to starting point and also to catch up with where Elmar left, what I'm going to do is to first of all show you the starting point, so how it all comes together. This is what we refer to as the business accelerator hub. And this gives you an overview of all the processes, how it relates, how we see the interactions, and it will serve us now to see where we are in the whole context of asset management. So with that, let's look into it. So with a business accelerator hub, first of all, what we're going to do is to look into the processes. Acquire to decommission is our set of solution processes covering all of the products. And within the solution process, we have multiple scenarios that we put together, from plan to optimize, to onboard, operation, and manage assets. So we're going to start with the managed asset master data. We're going to look into that, how it looks like from, first of all, the S4. This is serving down the baseline for us. You see all the master data reflected at data store, like equipment, function location, and so on. And all of these are being exposed as services to be consumed by all the applications. So let's have a look how it looks like in the S4 system, just to see where we're starting, where the starting point is really. And here we go. In the S4, we'll take one example of a technical object or equipment, which is in this case will be a water pump. So with that, I'm going to search for one particular object that I have prepared. And we just see the basic master data as it is represented in the S4 system. So here we see the raw water pump. That's the technical object. We have the manufacturer information, like the serial number, and everything maintained. So this is the S4 side. Now we're going back. Now we take the next step. And if we scroll down a bit, we will see also the other product in place, which is the Asset Performance Management, or also called APM. If you look into the interfaces, you also see how it is now technically being connected. And what will be the result of this is a replication of the master data into the Asset Performance Management system. So let's go over to the APM. This is the APM side. First of all, just to verify that the technical objects are there, we go to the Explore Technical Objects, just search for the same equipment that I just showed, which is again here, the raw water pump. We can see that manufacturer is there. If we go into the details, we also see serial numbers, so proven that it's there. This is the same object. Now let's take the next step. What you would typically do to set it up for conditional maintenance is to define how you want to react under a specific condition. So traditionally, we would use maintenance plan in S4 to set up cycles and intervals and so on. But in this case, we're going to use the APM to set up rules. So with that, we're going to bypass all the S4 stuff, and we're going into the APM side to see how the rules are being set up. In the APM, you would typically have the role of a maintenance planner that would set up the rules. So in our scenario, we'll take that equipment, identify the very one, which is obviously the pump, and we would define certain criteria that defines how and when we will react on certain conditions happening to this object. All of this definition will then be stored in a rule data store on the APM side and be executed there. In APM, we'll simply go to the rules section. So from this session, I've also prepared a rule just to save some time. So what you will see here is a rule that has been set up accordingly, which will react on streaming data from that asset. So the raw water pump streaming contains a set of rules that defines how and what happens to it. First of all, it has a data set which consists of two things. First of all, the technical object itself. So obviously we have the pump assigned to it. And secondly, we have the indicators that tells you what to react on. And in this case, we're going to use the bearing temperature as an indicator. The rules will then trigger an output in terms of an alert or a notification, which will be sent to the S4 system. The definition of the rule itself is built up in the following way, that we set a criteria. In this case, we will react if the temperatures goes over 150 degrees. And if it does, it will produce an alert with a very high priority and including some descriptions of what just happened. We will also give some information around what is going to happen, like a task list reference that will be taken up in the S4 system. So now that the rule has been defined, that is ready for action, now takes the next step in the scenario. What we're going to do now is to monitor the whole stuff. So let's take the example again. Maybe a couple of weeks have now passed since we set up the rule. We're taking the approach of looking into the monitor asset health and what kind of demands will be produced. So first thing, to get an overview of this asset, we go back to the APM system. Now the next role will takes action. In this case, it's a production engineer, will also be a technician, and we will explore the technical objects, not just for the master data perspective, but also looking at the performance, failure curve, for instance, indicators, and the values of the such. In APM, that looks like the following. We explore the technical objects, opening up or finding the pump again. So now instead of looking into the master data, we'll take a look into the indicators. As you can see, we have more indicators than just the bearing temperatures, like inflow, oil level, outlet pressure, and so on. In this scenario, we're only going to focus on the bearing temperature. We will now monitor how this equipment has performed over the last period of time. Could have been anything from hours up to years. And you can see that based on the data collected, this temperature is bumping up and down between the lower threshold and the upper threshold, and signaling that something is happening to this equipment. If we now want to look into the prognosis of what could happen in the future, we can do a forecasting. So by enabling the forecasting, the system will now calculate an estimated direction of the temperature. And you can see that then visualized by the dotted line. What you can also see is that it's most likely going to above the upper limit in 1 or 2 days, February 1st, if we don't do anything. So this is the forecast what we have defined. Now, what we're going to do is to see that whole thing in real life. Now we're going back to the indicators. Now at this point in time, there's basically two options that you will have. We can either use the IoT to feed the equipment and from the sensor data with all the time series and populate it automatically, or we take the approach of setting the value manually, like what a technicians, for instance, would do. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set this value now to temperature of 150.1 degrees. And I'm going to select the date and time when I read this from the metering of the equipment, like a technicians would do. Pay attention now to the time, 3:35 p.m. This is the time where this bearing temperature was measured and recorded. What will happen next in the system is that we will have the APM system calculate and computate the asset health and the condition. As I said, if you have IoT enabled, you will take the time series and calculate values based on that. Or in our case, simply just the indicator value and compare that with the rule. So the rule will run, pick up all the necessary data, all the parameters, and will produce what is necessary. And since we set it up to create an alert, that will be created. So that's the first thing that will stay on the APM side, just to indicate what happened. And secondly, so that's the alert. Secondly, we will have a notification, also called a maintenance request, being created in the S4 system that will be taken up for further execution by the S4 system. So let's see how it looks like in APM. We will go to the health monitoring, to the alerts. We will see here everything that happens to any object that are in scope for APM. And it will give us a list to react on. So what we will see here first is that we have a list of things that happen. And you see also the last thing that happened at 3:10. And that's obviously not our thing because we did the changes after. So we need to give it a few more seconds to come up with the alert. And here we go, 3:37, that correlates to what we just did. And you can also see a notification has been created, and this will come from the S4 side. If we would be interested to see the details, we can go to the indicator chart. At this point in time, there's no need to do so. We'll just see that the option is there. What matters more is what happens next. So from APM side, we are basically done. The notification has been created. And if we now go back to the S4 side, we will see that we have a different role here, which will take action. And that is the supervisor in the S4 system. The supervisor will take a look at all the incoming maintenance requests, among others, also our APM. In the S4 system, it looks like this. The maintenance supervision or supervisor would then take up the app screen maintenance request. This is the kind of a central place where we have all incoming maintenance requests from APM, but also for S4, for mobile, for many different systems. And we have a full list where the supervisor or the team lead can decide on what to do next. So with a notification, just pasting in here for sake of simplicity, we see that the notification has been reaching the S4 system, reported at 3:37, so that correlates. And if we look into the detail, we will also see the data coming from the rule, here indicated by the APM triggering as stream of data. So with that, we're basically now completing the closed loop. What we have seen is an asset being defined in the S4 system, replicated to APM. A rule has been set up to react on condition-based monitoring. The value has been changed, and an alert and a notification to the S4 system has been triggered, and now the execution in S4 can continue. And with that, I will get back to Elmar.
Thank you, Peter, for those insights into the system, and also thank you, Ekta, for the upfront stage setting for D2O. Before we get to Q&A and open up for that, we hope that this triggered your interest, and we have some further useful links for you collected that we will hand out afterwards, after the session. If there's interest from your side to learn more about, for example, blueprints that you have seen and demoed, demos in more detail, the details from the roadmap, deep dives into the one or the other topic, or if you would like to collaborate with us in the one or the other forum, here you have a brief collection of the most interesting links for you in order to get access to all that content and insights. For some of those links, we have even created one-pagers as we see them as most important. You have here the link towards the integration strategy white paper that you can directly access in order to learn more about the integration strategy. We have the famous Roadmap Explorer to stay up to date and to see what is coming across the portfolio in terms of dedicated features and functions. And we have here the Business Accelerator Hub, the link towards that to especially access the content for the operate scenario that we just shared on PowerPoint, but also by the demo that Peter gave. And then for sure, there is an open SAP course available to join here and to have dedicated sessions and learn more about the integration for our intelligent and sustainable enterprise suite. And finally, if there's more that you would like to share with us, to communicate with us, and if you're wondering how to get started, please join our SAP community and get with that contact between us, but also other customers towards the latest and the greatest of what we are sharing and disclosing here. And with that, I would say, Larissa, back to you from our side to see whether there is Q&A in the audience coming across.
Okay, thank you, Elmar. And we have a couple of questions in the chat, and couple of questions were connected to the question of whether SAP is closing updates and what is the future of SAP S/4HANA There were also a question about future of, I think it was NetWeaver. So if I understood it correctly, the question was around where to get the updates on the products. And I put the link in the chat on the roadmap, to the roadmap explorer, but also maybe you can comment on this if you can point out to more resources around that.
Thank you, Larissa. I can take that question, Elmar, here. And if I'm getting it right, towards the updates for S/4HANA and what we are doing there. Yes, the most reasonable place to find updates and the latest, greatest sharing about features and functions is the SAP Roadmap Explorer. There you can find the features by products, by capabilities being structured. And yes, it's just around the corner. Yeah, the next feature pack is due for delivery now in Q2 2024. And as most of our customers know, yes, we changed also our release strategy, switching towards major releases every 2 years, but having also in between those kind of feature packs. Yeah, and as I said, the next one is just around the corner in Q2 this year, the feature pack 1. But there's for sure also the plan then for the feature pack 2 in Q4 this year, and also the feature pack number 3 with Q1 2025. I hope this is answering the question.
I hope so too. So, Kartik, if you think that you have more questions on that, please put it in the chat. As I've already mentioned, the link to the Roadmap Explorer is already in the chat, so leverage this link from there. We have one more question. Is the asset performance management part of the S/4HANA core, or is it a separate module like AVS that is charged separately?
Thank you for that question, Larissa. I can take that as well. So with the asset performance management, we are going towards the next step, as I declared that, towards more performance orientation. And also like Peter was showing it, performance orientation means indicator values, time series values coming in, interpretation via machine learning, rules, engine, etc., in order to come up with the best point in time to do maintenance. But it's also that strategic part in terms of maintenance strategy definition, yeah, upfront in order to be sure that you have the best maintenance program at the end in place. And that is one of our extensions that we did on the business technology platform, being tightly integrated towards S4, as we have seen that and shared that before. So in a nutshell, yes, it's an extension. It's a separate module to make really our suite as a modularized approach, growing beyond the core.
Right. Thank you, Elmar. I hope this question, the answer is clear. If you need more information or want to elaborate on this, please put your information in the chat. Yes, there were a couple of questions that were stated in advance, and I will bring them now. And I can only encourage our audience to post the questions in the chat so the experts have the chance to answer them. So they're actually a great solution portfolio what SAP is offering. But what are really customers are saying about this solution portfolio? And even more important, how do they adopt it? Do you have any information on that?
Thank you, Larissa. I go also for that one, as it is so much portfolio related. And yes, we are in contact with many of our customers to coin a strategic direction and how we develop our portfolio forward, feature-wise, function-wise, but also from a suite quality perspective, as we have shown that and discussed that today. Sometimes it's in bigger user groups, sometimes it's one-to-one, that kind of relationship. And the direction that we are taking is really highly appreciated. Building on the strengths of the core, plus as, for example, with asset performance management, adding further disciplines, towards that what we had for decades, and in that way enlarging and growing our business process really end to end to cover the whole discipline of maintenance management, and also transforming that business towards being much more performance oriented in order to really safeguard, as we said at the beginning, for our customers, getting the most out of their assets at the end. And for us, of what we reveal also on the roadmap, the outlook looks great and is highly appreciated by our customers.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Is there more content in SAP Business Accelerator Hub to come? By the way, I've also posted the link to the Business Accelerated Hub in the chat.
Yes, I can take that. This is Peter speaking. Yes, most certainly. We have released a new version of that coming up in the next, actually, hopefully next month even. We'll add some more capability to that, some processes, some products, including business network for asset collaboration, and also the latest development on APM. And we also targeted to release a new version of that at any point in time where we have a major integration scenario from the products. So stay tuned, I would say. We'll have the link, so look for it.
Right, thanks for that. But all this great content that we have in Business Accelerator Hub, is it also reusable and extendable for the customers?
Yes, not from the Accelerator Hub, but there is another solution which I think we also have linked that in the useful resources, and that's the Signavio Process Navigator. We can go back to maybe a couple of slides. I think we have that mentioned here as exactly. If you go to the Signavio Process Navigator, if you open up there, then well, maybe we have time to show that as well.
I'll try to find the link too, so to make it easier for our listeners.
Yes, there we go. So, I mean, if you go now to, for instance, the acquire to decommission, then you can step into the various scenarios. So we'll just take one of them. And if you now open up, it takes a bit of a time to load, but you see this download symbol here on the right side, this icon. If you go there, you can download this as a content with a PDF or click on it. And I think you also have the BPMN here. And then you can download and you can modify it with your favorite tool and yeah, take the content from SAP. That's how you do it.
Right, let me post the link in the chat. So please leverage SAP Signavio Explorer. Very good. I can't see more questions in the chat with this. As I've already indicated, the PDF of the session will be available under the description to this video, right, shortly after the session is finished. With this, thank you, Ekta, Elmar, and Peter for the presentation and for the demo. And also thank you to our audience for being with us. And stay tuned with all the information on the new topics and new session that we will stream on SAP Community YouTube channel. And thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.